Today we are going to make a Swiss specialty called Lauchweie. Lauchweie translated into English means a leek tart. Hi everybody, I'm Sandeep Chatrat and I'm a home chef myself, and I welcome you to We the Chef. First of all, a little bit of information as to what We the Chef stands for. What is We the Chefs? We the Chefs is an aggregator for home chefs. We have home chefs who are motivated and cook very freshly cooked food for you. And our goal is to bring this fresh food from our 275 chefs in Delhi NCR and 50 chefs already enrolled in Bangalore to your home. Hi everybody and welcome to We the Chefs. Today we are going to make a Swiss specialty called Lauchweie. Lauchweie translated into English means a leek tart. So for making a leek tart, we require some ingredients. I am going to tell you what ingredients we require. First of all, for a leek tart, obviously we will need some leeks. Then we need some sour cream. We'll need fresh eggs. We need breadcrumbs. We need some grated cheese, some nutmeg, some pepper, salt, and a little bit of oil. Apart from these ingredients which we are using for making the filling, we will also require a tart dough. For making the leek tart today, we are using freshly harvested organic leeks from Tejara Farms. So first of all, we are going to chop the leeks in slices. Make sure that you wash your leeks very well because the inside might have quite a lot of sand or dust in it. So clean leeks to be chopped finely into slices. Then we are going to do the same with the rest of the leeks. So now that we have chopped our leeks, we are going to saute the leeks in a bit of olive oil. You add around 1 tablespoon of olive oil into a pan. Heat it a little bit. Only add your leeks when the oil is hot. Otherwise, they might become too soggy. You saute them till they start wrinkling a little bit. A good 2 to 3 minutes. Now that the leeks are sauteed and ready, we'll transfer them back to the bowl and let them cool for a couple of minutes. So our leeks are ready. Let them cool down for a good 5 to 10 minutes. And in the meantime, now we are making the filling. We call it the goose. For making the goose, we will need 2 to 3 eggs depending on their size. These eggs are kind of small, so I'm going to use 3 eggs. And then we are going to whisk these eggs. For those who don't have a whisk, you can also use a fork to whisk your eggs. Just whisk them lightly. After you whisk the eggs, you add around 300 milliliter of sour cream into it. So if you do not have sour cream, you can also use normal dairy cream with it, which will change the flavor a little bit, but better than nothing. So we are adding 300 milliliter of sour cream into this. And then we are going to mix all this together. And now we have to season this. For seasoning, we will use some nutmeg, some salt and pepper, that is all. So ideally, always fresh nutmeg. We need around 1/4 of a nutmeg. Just grate it into a liquid. And we're going to add a little bit of pepper and salt according to taste. Not too much, not too little, just to give it a little bit of flavor. Then whisk your mixture to blend the spices into it. Once we are done with this, we are going to add our cooled leeks into the mixture. And mix it all together. The lauch vai is ready. Our filling for our leek tart is ready. So here we get to the next stage. We've got a ball of dough ready to be rolled out. This is what we call the tart dough or a pie dough. So how to make this dough? This dough is made with around 225 grams of all-purpose flour, 225 grams of AP flour. We've used 75 grams of cold butter, and we've used approximately 100 milliliter of cold water. So for making this dough, you use the flour, add the cold butter in small cubes, rub it all together till you have a breadcrumb-like consistency. Then add the water into it and just put the dough together. You do not have to knead the dough. Don't knead the dough, just put the dough together and then wrap it in a cling film. Let it rest for half an hour in the refrigerator before using it. For anything, we need to roll out, dust your working table nicely with some flour to make things easier for you. And be very careful with this dough because this is a very delicate dough because it has not been kneaded. So it might crack at places. Do not worry about it. Try to do it softly. If it doesn't work out in the first go, you can do it, try it a second time. Just press the ball of dough together as much as you can. You see how cracky this dough is because it has not been kneaded. So at times you will just need to your hands to put the cracks together so that you're able to roll this out. Don't put too much of pressure, otherwise your dough might fall apart. Your dough might stick to the workstation. And now slowly and softly we will start rolling out this dough. And we'll change the directions, try to make it as round as possible. If the dough starts sticking onto your rolling pin, just put a little bit of dough either on your rolling pin or on the upper side of the dough. So I'm using a 30 centimeter pie dish. So if you're making a 30 centimeter pie dish, you have to see that you roll it out to a bit larger than 30 centimeters so that we get nice corners as well on the dough. Corners to be pushed together and roll it softly. So you see, it all takes time. For those who think good food can be made in 10 to 15 minutes, almost not possible. Again, carefully, very carefully, I'm turning the dough around. I still have to get to the size of my pie dish. How do you know without a scale that if your dough is large enough to suit your pie dish or not? All you need to do is take the pie dish, put it upside down and see that at least it's looking out around 1 inch out of your pie dish, which is still not the case. So what we will do is we will keep rolling on. And the thinner it gets, the more difficult it will become to handle. So carefully keep pressing the corners together, don't let it fall apart. So our second try to find out the size, we are almost there but just not there fully. Another centimeter and a half on each side and we are good to go. See to it that your corners are also thin, not that the dough is too thin in the center. and too thick on the outsides. Otherwise, when you put the filling and then when you cut your pie, it might fall apart in the center and might be too bready on the sides. And now we will get to the most difficult part is of picking this up and trying to place it into our pie dish. So once your dough has been rolled out and you have a pie dish in which you have put some butter on and then you've dusted it with flour, then you make a mixture of your grated cheese and some breadcrumbs. Mix it well together and keep it ready. Now comes the most tricky part, trying to lift our pie dough and getting it into our pie dish. There we go, very carefully trying to lift the whole thing up and covering the pie dish. The corners might be again too brittle, so we will use our hands later to fix that. There we go. A little bit more to this side if somehow possible. At times it looks a bit too chaotic, but we will manage it. So now that we have placed our dough into our pie dish and we've covered the pie dish, you take a nice sharp knife and try and cut off all the edges that are looking out. So with a sharp knife, cut the dough off to the rim of the pie dish. And if at some places you might have a little bit less dough, we can just repair it with the extra dough that we have. Once this is done, we are going to sprinkle the crumbs and the cheese on bottom of the pie dish. And then finally, you're going to put the filling and distribute it evenly. So our lauch pie or the leek tart is ready to go into the oven. We are going to bake it at 180 degrees for approximately 35 to 45 minutes. Depending on your oven, be careful. Some ovens heat only on one side and the other side has got less heat, so it might get too dark on one side. So rotate your dish up after half of the baking time so that it is totally baked. So in around 35 to 45 minutes, we will come with the final product. See you later. So a tart goes into the oven at 180 degrees, approximately 35 to 45 minutes, till you've got a nice crust on top. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon to motivate us to bring you many more such shows. Thank you so much.